Hello and welcome to a UKVersus deck profile. Today we'll be talking about my UK RLE deck, which got 17th place. So I'm still disappointed in that, and it is Midnight on Void. I know Garrett Brett literally this weekend got much higher than me with his Void build, but that's why I wanted to talk about mine. Because I know there'll be some deck profiles coming out about his. And I want to talk about mine, and so people can have a look at the different options that are out there. Because although I got 17th place, I do like this deck, and I do think it is a lot of fun to play. So, unlike the legendary Garrett Brett, I am not able to play in the fourth dimensions like he is. I am running a much more linear build. We've got 4 repeated smashes. Now, they are just, in themselves, a great card. And I absolutely love them in Midnight because you can drop them as your first attack and still get the same amount of value as if you dropped them as your second, third, fourth, fifth. Because the maths with repeated smash is you get to ready X plus your check. And X is the amount of attacks in your card pool plus your check. So if I'm playing as my first attack and I check a 5, I ready no foundation. I commit no foundations, which means I get. Currently I'm at 0, but thanks to Midnight, I get to commit 1, go to -1 foundations, and then I get the plus X from repeated smash, allow me to ready back up, putting me back at 0. This is where Midnight can play repeated smash a lot better than other characters, because a lot of other characters you have to play it second or third or fourth in order to initiate that -1 foundation and make sure that you can do the same as cards like Hard and Jab and Hard and Chop to get the true level of their value. Sometimes you need to play them later, because being able to commit a foundation and pick it up, or commit a foundation to destroy, is a great way to go. And that's why I'm also running 2 Hard and Chops. Yes, they only get 2 speed, but at the same time, if I check well, I get to. Even if I don't check well, I can leave it as speed as it is, but I get that foundation recursion because it allows me to blow up a foundation that's been committed and ready one up. And if I do check well as my first attack, I then get to commit a face down for +2 speed. Chance that it's not going to get blocked anyway, but it takes my pendulum of foundations. It would usually be starting to swing towards the negative and starts to pull it back towards the positive. Then we are running 2 hard uppercuts. Hard uppercut is in here for 2 reasons. One, this lovely 0 check that accompanies the -2 speed to the next one, because Midnight is great, but Midnight cannot guarantee that she's going to hit everything. There are attacks like Maximum Overhaul, Muscle Mauler, Tongue Whip, Hard Jab that have very few keywords, but do a lot of dangerous things. Not Muscle Mauler, the other one. That do a lot of things that I'm not going to be able to interact with, or have minimal interaction with them. So being able to give the next one -2 allows my opponent to have to kind of more think about their turn. That's what Breaker Blocks are for as well. I played this deck suboptimally at Sheffield. I kept getting greedy with it, and that's what led to my losses. When I took a step back and I played more mid-range, I played more defensively, games were much more in my control, and that's why a lot of people end up in ties. And that's something I'm trying to improve on now myself, is to stop getting so greedy, stop seeing a 7-hander with 20 health going, I'm going to punch you into the ground now, and playing it a bit more defensively. The last 5 check in here is Rejuvenating Smash. Now, Rejuvenating Smash, beautiful card. I've played this so much more on defense than I have on offense. I'm just going to switch these around as well. I played it because it triggers on defense. It's a 1 mid block, but getting 2 health, drawing 2 cards as a 6-hander is great. Keeps replenishing my hand, and because I can turn Midnight sideways, discard cards from my hand and draw that many more, I get the momentum, which allows me to get a bit more speed. or I can set it up for a hard uppercut or repeat smash EX or powerful. Then we have rewind throttle. Now this is controversial as being one of my only 4-ofs because it is only 3 damage and Midnight already struggles with damage. But it has target committal, which is just great. You can target and commit defensive pieces or pieces you're going to struggle against. And even if you don't, if I can turn Midnight sideways on this attack, discard 4, draw 4, I then get to draw another 1, which is absolutely beautiful. Being able to draw 1 for free after being able to do a selected mulligan is absolutely beautiful. And then we've got Plummeting Punch. Plummeting Punch is in here because it's speed bump from face. It's a deceptive attack, and it's got one of the best deadlocks in the game. And after seeing how the current meta is shifting, I think there's going to be a lot more deadlock play, and I think I need to bump this up to a 4-of if I play it in any other big events before we get Jet Burn, because people go into deadlock and this just punishes them. Yeah, it costs me a life, but he does it. But being able to commit a foundation, make it a 5 for a 5 high for 4, flip that foundation again, and then it becomes a 7 for 4. A 7 low for 4 is very hard to do, especially in the current meta where people are not really using low blocks, because Mirio's starting to die back out again, and unless you see Indiscriminate, you don't really want to do anything with it. Big thing in the deck is Barrier Shield. Barrier Shield has saved me a lot of times. It was in here to do one thing, and I never got to do it, and it was to destroy Double Jab Pummel, because Barrier Shield has 2 enhances. The first enhance is play it, remove. This attack speed becomes 0, and your next attack then the next card you play then gets Breaker 2. Being able to pair that with a card like Spooky is perfect. You make it 0. You wait for them to use all the speed enhances, and then you make it 0. You make it 0, and they go, oh, and then you go, cool, and then your opponent has that mind game of, I've just dealt no damage, and the next card that he's gonna play gets Breaker 2. Do I want to keep swinging? I can get this one in, but the next one is gonna have Breaker 2 if he blocks, and that's gonna be a big deal. The second one is your rival cannot add cards to the hand during this attack due to non-character effects. So it messes up Maximum Overhaul. It messes up Double Jab Pummel, Staff Strike, Hardened Jab. Anything really that takes cards from any other zone and adds them to the hand. And I think that's really cool. You cannot just go, if you play Staff Strike against this Midnight deck and you go combo, and then I just go, sure, you don't get to draw. Yeah, I've added 1 progression, but that's kind of just ruined your turn. I desperately wanted to go up against Jiro just so I could watch them go Double Jab Pummel, and I go, cool. Your next check gets +2, but it costs you 2 cards. Because under the guise of do as much as you can, the attack gets blocked, you draw 2, oh no, you're not allowed to draw 2, can't, overrides must, and then you discard 2. So you still have to discard. Your check got +2, it costs you 2 cards, have fun with that. Foundation wise, we're running a little bit of Stun Hate in Keeping Eri safe, and we've Gotcha. Keeping Eri safe is a beautiful card. If it gets committed due to rival effect, I get to ready it. Seems more fair to me. Yeah, only once per turn. Gotcha is absolutely beautiful in this deck, especially with repeated 100% smash. So it has a response when it is committed in the enhanced step. This attack gets +1 and -1 speed. So if it's stunned, I give you attack -1 speed. If I commit it due to Midnight, my attack gets +1 speed. So I take these 2 keyword attacks and I give them a little bit of extra speed. I take my 4 keyword attack and I make it 5. And that makes it a lot harder to play. A 9 high for 6 early on is going to be very hard to deal with. Partially why I'm also running Easily Excited. Now I know other lists I've kind of cut down on the Elixir Head because an extra 2 speed isn't going to make that much of a difference, but it really can. Being able to give your keyword taunt and +1 speed is absolutely key. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful to get that extra damage in and actually push a bit further. Also, I'm winning Practical Studies. Practical Studies, +1 speed if your rival has not lost health this turn. So generally the first attack will always get that as speed. And it has Deadlock of commit. This attack gets +3 speed. And I get to seal 1 foundation. Again, perfect with repeated smash. Where I can go cool, commit, +3 speed, seal, ready up. And then on my next attack, I get to do it again. All worked up. All worked up is in here. Because it pairs with Midnight perfectly. Discard it, +1 damage. Pairs with Rewind Throttle. Discard, +1 damage. Pairs with Prone to Dry Eyes. Discard, +1 damage, +1 damage. And if it does get in play, it's a Deadlock out, as well as +1 to my next check. So I can go, just blow it up, +1 to my next check. And it'll make things a bit easier. And that's playable or commit. That's in a tenacious ability that I can blow it up for +1 to my check. Prone to Dry Eyes is in here because Midnight's biggest issue is damage. However, as you can see with Rewind Throttle and Rejuvenating, I do have ways to draw. So discard 1 card, all my attacks get +1 damage. This allows me to keep setting up and keep pushing and makes my string deadlier as they go on. As well as it has a beautiful response of, after this card is committed due to rival effect, ready up 2 face down foundations. And thanks to Plummeting Punch, will allow me to flip, allowing with a lot of my other foundations which I'm about to go through that also flip. It could be a very big deal. Then I've got the one-off column for backup, just because I wanted to fill up a little bit of space, and it also allows me to act as a bit more of a sneaky discard, as well as also just an extra draw as well. Tape is absolutely standard in here. Let me turn something to a mid or slow other mids down. Comes in very handy against certain decks, especially when you're looking at focused attack decks. Manly Passionate Guy. I absolutely love Manly Passionate Guy in this deck. Being able to reduce speed down so I can get Prone to Dry Eyes out. I can create problems for my opponent in their turn by just going block and then they go, oh no. And if, thanks to the Tabe that's just stopped, if Tabe becomes more of a thing, I'm going to bump this up to 4. Because I need to be able to clear my card pool before Tabe can get hold of stuff. After that, it's 2 Decoy Duplicates. Now I know Decoy Duplicate, not the most exciting thing in the world. A lot of people check going out for Broken Psyche. Can't play Broken Psyche on here, but this is a perfect one for a Manly Passionate Guy. You literally just chuck it down, block with it, build down Manly Passionate Guy, and now you're online. It does involve taking momentum, which is quite dangerous in the Capture Evildoers era, but this is also part of the mental game. Just like Broken Psyche, your opponent has to look at your board and go, that's a Decoy Duplicate. I either need to get that committed down, or I need to have one more attack that is lethal or bait out the Decoy Duplicate. A one of confused. I don't particularly want to rely on it, but I want it in there in case of throws, in case of things like Reciprocal Burst, where I can take away the EX or other little combo pieces. I want to be able to just start to dismantle a little bit what people are trying to do. And it's also very funny if they don't use Muriel's ability first, because it doesn't say print, it just says this punch or slam. So you just go boop, nope, it's not a punch anymore, what are you going to do? Same with the Spooky, it's a one-of, it comes in, works beautifully with the Barrier Shield, works beautifully with Gotcha. Midnight is just a great way of being able to turn off cards like Jolt, Zero Gravity Lift, all these cards that usually do damage. If you can just go, it's now 0 speed, It's now 0 damage, and you've just got to be careful that your opponent doesn't have any more damage buffs, because you are more than likely creating an attack that cannot be blocked. Red Right's the coolest. Has a nice little flip ability, which is tenacious. It can be played while committed. You get to flip it for +2 damage, which is really cool because it means I can commit with Midnight, then flip for extra damage. And has a Deadlock Enhance, which if you attack with Hardened or Red in the name, it gets +1 speed, +1 damage. It makes the Hardened Uppercut and the Hardened Chops a lot deadlier the further we go into the game, because they're going to be coming in with more damage. Similar with Spirited Referee. Spirited Referee, beautiful card in Midnight. You commit it, and this attack either gets -1 damage, which if you're going to block it may make a bit of a difference, or you give your attack +2 damage. So if I can get out early, commit it to repeated smash, make that a 8/8, then ready it back up and put it on my next attack, that seems really decent. And then the last foundation is Petty Squabble. Petty Squabble has a response of once per turn, discard a card. After an enhance is played in on a foundation, I commit one rival copy of that card. So after my rival plays a Snack Time, I then discard a card and commit either the Snack Time or another copy of the Snack Time. So it allows me to get ahead. It's a great way of dealing with deadlock threats. So things like the big three, pull no punches, or things like they get one activation of it, and then you just go Petty Squabble, and it's gone. You don't have to deal with it anymore unless they've got multiple copies. They need a bit more of a threat. It also allows you to overextend as a 6-hander and go down to the 1/2 cards, because Petty Squabble has the enhance. Commit your character. Each player discards 2 cards, draws 2 cards. So if I go down to 2 cards, my opponent's stringing out. I block. They go, you got no cards in hand? I go, cool. And then they come at me, and I just commit my character, because my character's ability is playable while committed, and I draw 2 cards. It also forces my opponent to discard 2 cards and draw 2 cards, which was very helpful when I went into the Izuku Midoriya rounds in round 6 and 7, because they were discarding cards, so if they only had 2 left, I'd be like, cool, Petty Squabble, I'll draw 2, you'll discard 2, draw 2, and that can cause issues for them, because then losing and going a bit more random. It's a great tactic against 5-handers. 7-handers and 6-handers can be a bit more of an issue. It is a roll of dice. You could be getting them to discard foundations to draw attacks, but you are also drawing into your defensive pieces. It's a bit of randomization, but a bit of randomization never hurt. So yeah, this is my 17th place EU RLE Midnight deck. It did me well. I think I wasn't prepared enough playing the deck. I hadn't got anywhere near the same amount of reps in as I had for Mina or Dabi or other decks I've taken to events. And I really wish I could have done Midnight a bit more justice and got that extra place and taken it to top cuts. But hopefully I can keep working on it and bring it back in some other way. But with Jetburn, who knows? Because Jetburn's got some really nice stuff. But thanks for watching, and if you're interested in this kind of content or got any suggestions, please do let us know. Goodbye.